Hello and welcome to another episode of Food is Fuck. My name is Zeke and Simone is behind the camera as usual, and today we are cooking Zeekimush. So Zeekimush basically is my version of a mushroom gravy. Yeah, it's a very thick mushroom gravy and it is awesome in a lot of different dishes, but today we're just going to be showing you how to make the Zeekimush itself. Alright, so let's talk ingredients. So Zeekimush is obviously not going to be Zeekimush without some mushrooms. Now I advise that you go out there and get as many types of mushrooms as you can. If you only have access to a certain type of mushroom, that's totally fine, it's still going to work. But I like to have a lot of different mushrooms. I have about 3 boxes of these shimeji mushrooms, some oyster mushrooms, some king oyster mushrooms, and they look like this, and these are awesome. So the huge portobello mushrooms, they only had 1 dough in the store, so I got it. Cremini mushrooms or brown button top or whatever it is that you call these mushrooms, but they're called cremini here. I have some shiitake mushrooms. The idea is just get as many mushroom types as you can, and the reason for that is I like the different textures, right? So you do actually get different textures of the mushroom in the gravy, which is awesome. To that, we're going to be adding some parsley, some rosemary, a couple of celery sticks here. I have a carrot, 2 onions. I have some garlic that I'm going to be using. And that's pretty much it for the veggies. Now everything else is for flavor. So we're going to be using a little bit of tomato paste. We are going to be also adding some coconut cream, salt, pepper. I'm going to be using a little bit of Guinness barbecue sauce. You guys should know by now that I love Guinness. We're also going to be using some oregano leaves or dried oregano if you want. Some Worcestershire sauce. I said that right on the first time. Nor chicken stock pot. Now this dish can totally be vegetarian if you want, so if you want to use a vegetable stock, that's totally fine. I'm just using the chicken because I like it. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of cinnamon, cardamon, which I am going to be taking out of the pods and sort of pulverizing into a powder, and you'll see that later. A little bit of maple syrup. You don't have to use maple syrup. This is just for the sweetness to the sauce that I'm gonna add. So you can use honey or sugar, whatever it is that you want. I'm just going with maple today. Flour. And one more ingredient. This stuff is S&B Tasty Sauce Mix. And this is just basically, it's this stuff, right? So it's a Japanese curry that you can, I would say it's very common nowadays, right? So if you just go to the Asian aisle in your supermarket, you should be able to find this. This is not totally necessary, so this is something that I recently started adding to this dish, but I really like what it does to it. But it's up to you if you want to add it or not. This dish is actually very easy to make. Everything is in one pot. However, all those things that I just showed you now have to be chopped up and prepped. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, so I'll see you guys in a while. I have a lot of chopping to do. All right, so the chopping is done, the slicing is done, the pestle and mortaring is done, and we are ready to start cooking these things. I have the pot on high just to get it up to heat, and I'm gonna start things off by adding a little bit of butter and some oil so that it doesn't burn. Add a little bit of oil just to help the butter not burn. All right, so we are going to start first with our mushrooms and our chopped up onions. So as you can see, the mushrooms I chopped up in different ways, right? These ones I just pulled apart, these ones I sliced long, these ones I just chopped a little bit fine. And the reason for that is you want the different textures of the mushrooms, right? Shimeji mushrooms, I don't even chop them, I just take that bottom bit off. and then you just sort of separate them with your fingers. Your oyster mushrooms, portobellos, and your king oysters. You need a big pot. This is a lot of mushrooms in there, but all of this is going to wilt down. At this point is where I would add my the rest of my butter. I'm not actually seasoning the mushroom right now. I'm just gonna give it sort of two pinches of salt just to help it start to sweat and get that water out. So 1, 2. Don't be too rough with the mushrooms. Just give it its time, and it's gonna start to wilt down on its own. So bring your heat down to sort of a medium, and this is gonna take a while, so just give it a stir every minute. As you can see now, the mushrooms that were all the way up to here are almost 3/4 of the way down. But you can also see at the bottom, we have a ton of water. So all that needs to go away. So we're not done yet. On high heat, we are going to cook this until the mushrooms start to get a little bit of color. Be careful not to burn them, but we want them to get a little bit of color because color is flavor. Like that sound. At the bottom, we're gonna start to get some bits that stick. And this is excellent because this is going to help in making our gravy. Be careful, as long as the stuff that's stuck at the bottom is brown, that means you're doing it right. If it's black, that means you burnt the fuck out of it. And you need to start again. This is where I'm gonna be adding my onions now. So both are red and white onions. If you noticed, I used the liquid from the onions to deglaze those brown bits that I showed you earlier with the mushrooms. So I'm using a wooden spoon so I can scrape the bottom of the pan while I'm stirring. And as you can see, most of the brown stuff now is not there anymore. We're gonna be adding the rest of our veggies. So I'm going in with my carrot, which I shredded. Celery. Give it a good mix. All right, now we're gonna add our garlic, which I also shredded, and we're gonna add our ginger. So our GG is in. Give that a good mix. And actually, this is where I'm going to start seasoning this now, all right? So a little bit of pepper, dash of salt, tablespoon of oregano. I'm gonna add a little nutmeg, a nice pinch of cinnamon, Worcestershire sauce, a good glob of it. All right, now give this a good mix. Here is the step that you cannot skip in this recipe. So you can do whatever the hell you want everywhere else, but you can't skip this step. So we're gonna be adding, I would say, I don't know, about 2 spoons of flour. Maybe another 1/4 spoon. I would add the rosemary at this stage before we add our liquids.
Why at this stage?
Because the rosemary is a little bit tougher, so I like to sort of soften it up a bit.
Not because you forgot to add it before.
Not because I forgot to add it before.
Okay, with the others.
Yeah.
Right.
For the last 30 seconds, go up to high heat because we are going to be adding our soup. Now, this is probably not all the liquid that I'm going to use. I'm going to use more than this, but this is just some water that I melted in my chicken stock. So this is tomato paste, so I'm gonna be putting about a spoon of that in there and a half. Half of the parsley that I just roughly chopped up, and we're gonna be adding the other half towards the end so it stays a bit fresh. We're gonna be adding a little bit of coconut cream. So I would say about this much, I don't know, 1/3 of a can, half a can, something like that. This is a good stir. So be careful when you're stirring this because it splashes, and this is lava. This is that Japanese curry. So I'm just gonna put a block, actually, cut it up a little bit just to get things going easier, is I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And this is also exactly the stage where you're supposed to put your cardamom, because I totally did not forget that either. So I'm putting this much. Remember, cardamom is very potent, so don't go too crazy with it. And that's pretty much it. We're really done. So all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bring this down to a simmer, and I'm gonna cover it for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're done. Now, man, I'm so excited about this.
Very good.
This almost feels like a proper gravy, right? Like, you wouldn't believe this is just a mushroom gravy. No, but seriously, this dish is extremely versatile. And we're actually gonna show you a few recipes in the future where you can use this to incorporate into a few other dishes. For example, a shepherd's pie with this instead of the minced meat.
Good idea. We should make it.
Let's make it. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching our videos. We truly appreciate it. Please, if you like what we do, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And please share our videos, because it gives us nice, sort of warm, fuzzy feelings inside. And it helps other people find out about us. And we totally love you guys for that. And yeah, and comment down below. Let's start talking with each other here. Come and join the tribe. So until next time, I've been Zeke from Food is Fun, and this is the amazing Simone, and we'll see you guys next time. Shit.